Hey YouTube. Well, it's a nice sunny day and I should be working on the deck, but my neighbor brought this over and needed some work. I'm waiting for a belt now for it. I can pick it up this afternoon apparently at Napa, but that's the last thing it'll need, so in order to get it running for him. It's always something. So yesterday it was sunny, but I didn't get a chance to work on the deck because I had to work on my neighbor's tractor, and it ended up pretty much taking a big part of the day, and then I was doing some mowing. So anyway, these boards aren't nailed down, they're just laying there, keep them flat. I just wanted to show you though the color of them with that treatment. You know, if you go by treated wood, some is green, some is brown, so but it came out pretty nice. If you, what I did here with these, to not have any marks like that in them, you just keep rolling them. If you roll them good. Now, along this one edge here, it looks like there's something, but that's actually the outer edge of the tree. But the colors came out pretty good on these, on this wood. It's not bad for treated, but I think she wants to put a light gray on here, sort of like the house, and then trim off the posts and stuff with a blue color like the shutters on the house there. So probably that's what she'll be doing. Let's see what else. Well, after getting the deck boards out of there, you can see my 2x6 pile's down pretty good. There's around 24 2x6s left there, but that's alright, because I can always cut more. This pine plank was in the kiln underneath a pile of wood there. I want to make something out of this, probably a bench. I think it's a nice looking piece. It's an inch thick. Alright, so this should be all the 2x6s I need for the deck to put the top on. Not the handrail and stuff, that'll be 2x4s probably. But anyway, I gotta put the womanizing on these. I can't do it today because it just stopped raining, and I think it's gonna start up again. One of the commenters had mentioned about putting some 4x4s across here, or not 4x4s, 2x6s on a 45. And that's probably a good idea. I was thinking I'll just cantilever the boards, but this way here it'll be a little bit of support just in case an edge should end up on that. So I'm going to put that in there then before I cover it over. Guys, I don't know if this will help somebody or not, but this is a Toro LX468. And what was going on with this thing is every time you'd put it in gear for the belt and start to cut grass, it would the belt would fly off. And really, what was the main problem was that the drive belt for the mower deck was about 2 inches too big, and the tensioner on it ended up touching another pulley, and that's how loose the belt was. And I don't know who put it on for the guy, but somebody did. But anyway, I put a new belt on that was 2 inches shorter. Now here's the thing though with these. Underneath, well, let me show you this side. Underneath here, the only thing that holds this is that bar right there that runs up to the front end. So there's an R-clip at this end, but at the other end there's a big nut in there. You see it right there? This right here. And what happens is, if you don't have the deck, if the mower deck is angled down too hard and it's not flat, it's obviously not cutting flat, the leading edge will be down. Now, I've seen some people and read some books about it, and sometimes the leading edge is okay if it's down a little. The problem with this tractor is if the leading edge is down too much, in other words, if that bar that I just showed you is too loose, what happens is the belt, it rides straight on the motor. The belt on the motor's riding straight, but by the time it gets back here, it's riding really high, like you can see it there on that idler, and it actually rolls itself off. just driving on the flat ground. So by putting a little bit shorter belt in here and tightening up on that bolt for the front end so that the mower deck is more like the parallel line, more like the mower deck is parallel to the ground is what I'm saying, at both ends, okay? In other words, this end and that end are the same distance off the ground. That's what you want. So, seems like it's working pretty good. I cut some grass with it this morning just to see how it would work, and it seems fine. So, like I say, it's an LX468, but that design there may go like that on a bunch of tractors, because I know on my Sears tractor, instead of one bar up in the front there's 2 bars, and both of them have to be tightened in order to keep the mower deck level. Alright, well, I just wanted to finish up on this since I mentioned it yesterday, or mentioned it this morning, I mean. And I greased it for the guy and changed the motor oil in it, changed the filter on it. It was pretty easy to get at. The filter's right there. The motor oil on the opposite side has a nice little valve on there, one of those quick open valves where the yellow cap is there. You just turn it, you put a hose on it, you turn it, and the oil just comes out. So I was looking at this thing. It also has a Kohler engine in it. I like these Kohler engines. The one that's in my Sears tractor is 20 years old and it's been working fine ever since I bought it. Never had a problem with it. I took the air cleaner out of this one and cleaned it up. It was a little bit dirty. You know, checked the spark plugs, and the spark plugs were fouled a little bit. Not much, just some corrosion on, or black gas, burnt gas on them. So I just cleaned them up with a little bit of sandpaper. But other than that, it's running good. So hopefully you don't have any trouble with this now. It's a nice little tractor. So this morning, you can see it's 90 degrees there on the thermometer. Very humid. The humidity is ridiculous. It's probably way up there. But anyway, I want to put this back on my wood miser because I made 16 pair of these this morning, and I'm going to be sending them out tomorrow. So I just want to take the time to thank you guys who wanted these, and I'm glad that there was a good amount of you. So because the cutters and stuff cost money, the time involved in it, and that helped to pay for that stuff. So thanks a lot for wanting these. They seem to work good. I'm happy with them, and apparently a couple of other guys thought it was a good idea, and they'll be happy with it. Come on, Bullseye, let's go for a walk. Hey, you two. When I was a young kid, about 16 years old, my dad used to say to me, be nice. Be nice. Believe me, he was not a pushover, and I received many duly earned spankings. That was my first lesson on what was later to be called doing business with difficult people. In project management, whether it's construction or just business management, come on, boy, come on. Being nice is good advice. Let me give you examples of how this concept can make a big difference in how you conduct yourself, and more importantly, how your customers respond to you. Whew. Coming up that hill is losing my breath here. Well, looks like the rain is over. Anyway, let's suppose you're going to mow someone's yard. If you go to the job meeting, which can be as simple as standing out in the yard, suppose a customer says, I want my grass clippings raked up after you cut the grass. If you say, that is not how to do grass mowing, you are already insulting the client, because your words insinuate that the customer does not know how to cut grass. Now suppose you said, We normally don't rake clippings because we have a mulching mower and the clippings go back into the soil to feed the grass. With a statement like that, think about it. No one is insulted. You made a good point, and you left the decision up to the client as to whether or not they want the grass fed by the clippings. Whew, I gotta catch my breath here. Bullseye. Okay. I worked with a lot of design engineers in my day, and sometimes the designs were not feasible or may not apply to all the situations that would be encountered. We were installing a pipeline next to a river, and the specifications called for the bedding under the pipe to be what was known as screenings. Screenings are pulverized stone with 1/8-inch sized bits of stone mixed together. The problem with screenings is when they are mixed with water they become muddy. As a result, the pipe would have been laid on muddy, unstable bedding. When estimating the project, we recommended that the bedding be changed to 2B stone, which has no dirt in it and is unaffected by water. When I was at the job meeting about that project, one of the contractors in attendance said these words to the engineer. I would think that after being an engineer for so many years, you would have learned by now that screenings do not work when water is present. There's a truck going by. I had to call Bullseye back. So anyway, here boy, come here. Here. It looks like there were 3 trucks going by. Where was I? So I was at this meeting, and this contractor said to the engineer, I would think that after being an engineer for so many years, you would have learned by now that screenings do not work when water is present. Well, that engineer took the comment as an insult, and rightly so, because the contractor used the word you. Come on, boy. Bullseye. If the contractor would have been nice, he could have said something like this. I was wondering if we should encounter water, could we use 2B stone instead of screenings to bed the pipe? See, now that was just a question and not an insinuation or an insult. The opposite of this situation also comes to light at times from the opposite direction. The engineer could have said, don't you think we know what we're doing? We have designed pipelines long before you were born. I hear a lot of that. But anyway, the point is there are words that can be said that continue dialogue, and there are words that end dialogue or turn it acidic. That's my point here. Look at my potatoes, they're going crazy over there. The weeds are doing better than the strawberries. So anyway, it is not easy to always be nice. Like my dad used to say, be nice, be nice. And sometimes being nice to people can do nothing to further the dialogue because the person is just plain ignorant, annoying, or in need of self-reassurance. Now that doesn't mean you gotta come down on somebody just because they don't know something. What I'm trying to say is there are people that cannot be talked to, and I've had a couple of them in my life. Anyway, there's a saying, it is better to remain silent and let people wonder if you're stupid than to open your mouth and assure them that you're stupid. This morning, or I guess it was at lunchtime, I was reading my comments, and a viewer had wrote a comment and it went like this. You might consider 45-degree blocking around the fire pit. In reality, I was thinking the same thing the other day, but I figured I don't need it. But since the commenter reaffirmed my own thoughts, I decided to add the angled pieces. What if he would have said something like this? A good carpenter would know to put 45-degree blocks at the fire pit. Well, that's an insult to me. And the dialogue ends there. I don't want to respond to him. I'm not going to do what he suggested. I'm not even going to listen to the suggestion, even if it would have been good. But obviously, this commenter knows how to speak to people. Therefore, I could accept the comment as constructive instead of destructive. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that you will become a lot more successful in your endeavors by being nice than by talking like a fool. And when I say successful in your endeavors, I mean everything from having a good night's sleep to being a multi-millionaire, whatever you want to be. Whatever your endeavors are, whatever direction you want to seek, you're going to do better at it if you're nice to people. There are 3 things to keep in mind when speaking or writing. 1, be knowledgeable or be quiet. 2, ask questions plainly and clearly to get an answer. And 3, remember that when you looked in the mirror this morning, you saw an imperfect person. We all make mistakes, and our decisions are not for everyone. But being knowledgeable can greatly diminish the negative effect on others and to ourselves. Have a good one, guys. Me and Bullseye are turning off here. Come on, boy. This way. Attaboy. Boy, the things are really leafed out. I can't believe how thick everything got. Bye.